Okay. Hey everybody, AC here, and today I just want to talk about The Legend of Zelda 35th anniversary and what I think we have in store for this year. So I'm just gonna get right to this. I think this year is going to be absolutely filled to the brim with Legend of Zelda content, whether it be in the form of merchandise, games, or special announcements having to do with Nintendo Land. Um, I believe that we are going to get a shit ton of Legend of Zelda uh, content this year. So let's go ahead and start with games. I strongly believe that there is going to be um a Zelda direct showcase similar to what happened with Mario last year for Mario's 35th anniversary. There's going to be a Zelda one this year. I'm not sure if that's going to be at the end of this month or sometime in March, but it's going to happen in one of those 2 months. I can definitely say that for certain. I could probably bet money on that and be right. Um, and I never bet money. Uh, but I feel very confident in that statement. We are going to get some kind of a Zelda themed 35th anniversary event sometime in the next couple months. And I believe that at this event, they're going to make several announcements to be Zelda 35, just Mario 35 connection is unstable again. What is going on? What is going on with my Wi-Fi these last few weeks? Need to get better coverage. Uh, anyway, so Zelda 35. It's pretty obvious that that's going to happen. Um, and then I also believe that we're going to get some deals. We're going to get announced some DLC for for Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity. It's going to be announced, and I made an entire video a couple weeks ago explaining exactly what I think is going to be in the DLC because there's a lot more to the DLC. I think there's going to be a lot more to the DLC than most people think. So if you're curious to find out what I think the DLC will include, go ahead and check out that video. I'll try to put the card up there in the corner. Um, and I believe that's going to be announced, the DLC. And then after that, we are going to get an announcement for a Legend of Zelda 3D All Stars collection. This 3D All Stars collection, there's a couple ways about the one. Have it include uh, uh, they could either one have it include Wind Waker HD, Twilight Princess HD, and Skyward Sword HD. Or the other thing they could do is they could have it include um, Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. They most likely won't do the 3DS versions. They'll most likely do what they did with Mario 64 for those two, and then Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD. And it'll be a 4 game collection. It will not include Skyward Sword, and Skyward Sword will come out at a later date. If it is the first one, then I believe that Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask will be a separate thing that will be sold. A Hero of Time collection, if you will. But I believe we are going to get all 5 of those games released this year. as ports to the Switch. Um, and these ports will most likely happen within the second and third quarters of the year. So sometime sometime from September, sometime from April to September, we are going to get all five of those Zelda games. I truly do believe that we are going to get that because Nintendo knows that fans have been wanting Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time on the Switch for years. They've known for several years now that fans have wanted that. And every time somebody makes some kind of Ocarina of Time mod or an HD version, Nintendo is very quick to take those down. Um, Now you might think that that's just normal for Nintendo, but here's the thing: they will take that while they will take down fan games, unfortunately, a lot of times they let it stay up for a couple weeks before taking it down. They let it stay up for a while as much. But in cases where they have plans for the game, they will take it down like within a couple days of it going out. If they have plans for that particular game, they will take it down as quickly as possible. They did it for Wind Waker. Before Wind Waker HD came out, there was a little HD version of the game that was being thrown around, and it got taken down just a couple days after it got released to the public. And then, like just a couple weeks later, Wind Waker HD was announced. So I use that as an example, but they've done it several other times. Whenever they have plans for a specific game, they always make sure to take down fan creations of that game. So the fact that they've been doing that for both Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask recently leads me to believe that we are going to get those two games on the Switch sometime this year. Um, and I also believe that on this little presentation of Zelda's 35th anniversary, I believe we're going to get an announcement for a new game. Not Breath of the Wild 2. I'll get to that in a minute. But if you remember, a couple years ago in 2019, a little remake was made. The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening. That remake was made, and with it came a new creator mode that you could do at Dompe's workshop. And then a few months later, DLC was released for Mario Maker 2. DLC for The Legend of Zelda. I don't think these two releases were coincidences. I believe Nintendo was testing the waters with Link's Awakening to see if people would like some kind of dungeon creator, and testing the waters in Mario Maker, in order to one, reach a wider audience to see if people would want to create Zelda themed levels, and to also try to get an idea of what the gameplay could be like. What the gameplay could be like. You could use air. You could use arrows in that. You could use your sword. You could use your shield to deflect things. They were testing the waters out for game. They were testing the waters out for the gameplay for how a Zelda dungeon creator could be made. I think that that's what we speak correctly. I think that that's what will be announced. As far as what it could be called, I don't think they're going to go for dungeon creator, or they could very well go for either of those. Um, they could also go for like dungeon master, I guess, though I highly doubt that they will, because I'm pretty sure there's a couple tabletop games that they'd have an issue that they'd have issues with if they called it dungeon master. Um, but I'm not entirely sure. I don't play tabletop games. But I think what they could call it, dungeon designer. The Legend of Zelda dungeon designer. It would keep with the illiteracy of Mario Maker. Super Mario Maker and The Legend of Zelda dungeon designer. Uh, it would keep that trend go. It would keep that trend going, and I think that we are going to get that announced. Whether or not that'll come out this year, not sure about that. And the reason for that is Breath of the Wild 2. Breath of the Wild 2. We recently got information that Breath of the Wild 2 could be coming out in the second quarter of the year by the end of June. By the end of June, and this was a leak by a retailer that accurately predicted the release of Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory. So they have some credibility to them. I am not entirely sure if that's actually going to happen, because I also know that Nintendo needs to actually have a holiday title. And since this is the year of Zelda, I feel like they might try to have a Zelda themed game at the end of the year. And I feel like releasing Breath of the Wild 2 and Dungeon Designer in the same year is just not going to be good. Now, I feel like they would be complete. I feel like one would completely overshadow the other. As to which one that is, I'm not entirely sure. For all we know, Breath of the Wild 2 could be like so amazing that no one even cares about Dungeon Designer. Or it could be the other way around. Once Dungeon Designer comes out, nobody will play Breath of the Wild 2 anymore. I don't think releasing both of them within the same year is going to happen. I really don't think it will. So I think that we're just going to get Dungeon Designer announced, but it will be announced for 2022. It'll be a similar situation to Super Mario 3D World. So it will be announced, and we will be told that it will happen. It will come out like February or March next year. But either that or Dungeon Designer is released this year, and Breath of the Wild 2 is pushed back to February or March next year for the fifth anniversary of the Switch. And we know that we're not going to get a Switch Pro Switch Super, or none of that. We're not going to get a new version of the Switch this year, but we could end up getting it next year in of the Nintendo Switch. And I think that that is probably what's going to end up happening. Um, especially with the especially with entire countries now suing Nintendo for the whole Joy-Con problem. Um, and I believe that we will be getting uh, some kind of like Switch Pro, Switch Super, um, that will fix those issues. This new version of Switch is going to essentially fix those issues. I think that Nintendo is working on it. We just won't see it this year. It's most likely going to be in the spring of next year. And so I think that they're either going to release um, Breath of the Wild 2 or Breath of the Wild 2 or Dungeon Designer along with it. One of those two is going to be released alongside this new version of the Switch. I truly do believe that that is going to be the case. As far as which one it will be, that is up in the air. Um, and if the rumors do turn out to be true, and Breath of the Wild 2 is going to come out in the summer, then the the port releases of the other 5 Zelda games will be pushed to the third and fourth quarter. So July to December. It's going to be pushed to the second half of the year, and most likely one of those titles is going to be the holiday title. Either the 3D collection is going to have Wind Waker and be released at the end of the year, or it's going to have Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, and that'll be released in the third quarter, and then Skyward Sword will be released at the end of the year. It's going to be one or the other. I truly do believe that that is what we're going to get as far as games. Now, the DLC for Age of Calamity will also come out periodically throughout the year. And then I also think that along with the release of Legend of Zelda Dungeon Designer and Skyward Sword, we are also going to get more amiibos. I think we're going to get another Link amiibo for Dungeon Designer, maybe similar to the Mario in his little construction worker outfit. I know that was available for a limited time, and I think we're going to get something similar to that for Legend of Zelda Dungeon Designer. And I believe that we will also be getting a amiibo for Skyward Sword eventually, once that port comes. As for what the amiibo could be, I think it'll probably be Fi. Fi or Fee, whatever you want to however you want to pronounce it. I pronounce it Fi. I think we'll probably get an amiibo for Fi, and it will add something big and significant to the game, like Twilight Princess did. Wind Waker, they might add a new feature. They might add a new feature to Wind Waker so that if you have then you can get cool stuff from them. They might add a new feature to that. I don't think they will make an entirely new amiibo for Wind Waker HD, and I'm pretty sure they won't make any new amiibos for Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. So I don't think we have to worry about that. But I do think we will be getting a few amiibos for Breath of the Wild 2. As far as what these amiibos could possibly be, um, I think that we could get a new Link, excuse me, a new Link amiibo. I think we'll get a new Link amiibo with his highly in tunic Champions tunic mixture that he's got going in the trailer, and a new Zelda amiibo with her haircut and in her new duds, um, and then probably an enemy amiibo, similar to how we get another enemy amiibo. As far as what this enemy could be, uh, I would like to think it's going to be something like maybe a Dark Nut or a Gibdo or a Redead, Tektite even. Um, there are several Zelda enemies that it could be. Um, my hope is Dark Nut, to be honest. I'm really hoping for Dark Nut for a Dark Nut amiibo. Um, and as far as what the fourth one could be, I think it's going to be Ganondorf. Now, I'm not entirely sure if we'll get a fully revived Ganondorf amiibo, or if it's just going to be the mummy skeleton that they find. Either way, kind of Ganondorf amiibo. So, so yeah, so I that's what I think is going to happen, and I think that we're going to get I think we're also going to get announced. Um, we're going to get to see some of the Zelda attractions that they have planned for Nintendo Land. I think they're going to go in on showing that since it is Zelda's 35th anniversary. Because last year they were focused all on Mario. They were focused all on Mario. So I think this year they're going to focus on Zelda, and they're going to show us what they have planned in Nintendo Land for Zelda. So I'm really looking forward to that. I think that's going to be awesome. And then of course we're going to get lots of merchandise, lots of figurines, toys, clothing, wallets, so on and so forth. But that is, I believe that this year is going to be one of the best years for Zelda, if not the best. I believe that Nintendo is going to go all in on this, especially given the state of the world. I think that now more than ever, they need to go in on this because 2020, while it was a garbage year, Nintendo was able to hold on and skate by the thread by a single thread and release some pretty good titles. But I highly doubt they're going to be able to. I highly doubt they're going to be able to just skate by again. So they need to go in this year. That's why I think we're going to get things that I talked about, and Zelda 35, and then Age of Calamity DLC. I believe we're getting all of that. Absolutely, we're getting all of that because they need to go in with this 35th anniversary. This is the year where they can put all of their effort into Zelda content and go all in on this, which will give them enough time to make other stuff. They once they've released all this, Nintendo fans will be entirely satisfied for not just this year, but most likely 2020, and it will give them enough time to catch up, to finish their other projects, and then possibly even release a couple of those projects by the end of next year. Um, and I really do believe that they are going to go all in for the Zelda 35th anniversary, even more so than they did for Mario, simply because this is the catch-up year. They don't have a whole lot left for us. So they need to go all in if they want to stay relevant. So I really do believe that we are going to get all of this stuff. Whether it be in the order I described, is up in the air. Probably not. But I do believe we will get all of this sometime this year or within the first half. Sometime in the next year and a half, we are going to get all of this that I have listed off. So that is my prediction video. That is my prediction of what we can expect from Zelda's 35th anniversary. Thank you, everybody, so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. What do you think about Zelda's 35th anniversary? Are you excited? Do you want to see any of the stuff that I talked about? Please let me know in the comment box below. I'd love to keep this discussion going. I'd love to keep the hype going. I am very excited to see what Nintendo has in store for this year, and it just at the end of the day, I'm a Zelda fan. I'm a big Zelda fan. I love the franchise. I've loved the franchise for several years now. It's such a big part. It's such a big part of my life. So 35 years. That's a lot. That's older than me. I'm only 27. So with that said, I will leave you guys here. Thank you so much for watching. And stay safe, everyone. Take care.